In last month's video, I left behind everything I knew. My home, my dojo, my country. And I boarded a one-way flight to Portugal. This is the beginning of a new chapter in my life, a life as a digital nomad architect. Today I find myself in Porto, a city of layers, of tiled facades and terraced living that feels like it's growing out of itself. This vlog isn't just about architecture, it's about new beginnings and everything that comes with it. And where else best to start other than my home base for the month at Outsite Porto Moco, a co-living and co-working space tucked away into what used to be an old industrial warehouse. The building is divided into 3 long bays, housing different types of residential and commercial accommodation. This can easily be seen through the project's front facade, which I'll enter through now. It's been reborn, stripped back. It's honest, raw, with concrete floors, timber linings, and open ceilings, but with a softness you only really get with adapted reuse when it's done well. Here, I'm living and working beside other creatives and other remote workers. It's my first taste of this lifestyle, and I have to admit, it's both exciting and a little bit terrifying. But before I show you more of what Porto Moco has to offer, let's visit a different iconic landmark in Porto. This is the Chapel of Souls in the centre of Porto, as you can tell by all of the traffic and all of the people walking by. It is a late 18th century chapel done in a neoclassical style. You can tell this by the fact that it's largely symmetrical and with very minimal decoration in its architraves, plinth and sash windows. The triangular gable and entablature above the entrance also helps frame this entrance and directs you inside. Generally, neoclassical facades have an emphasis on smooth, unadorned surfaces, but what makes this chapel so special is that it's covered in nearly 16,000 blue and white tiles, which were added in 1929, I believe, by Mr. Lello. I think I'm pronouncing that right. While the chapel might seem very decorative because of these beautiful tiles, it's interesting to imagine what it might look like if these were removed. This reveals that the architecture itself isn't particularly decorative in nature. The Livraria Lello. Yes, the library that inspired J.K. Rowling when describing Hogwarts' school of witchcraft and wizardry. The Harry Potter crowd in here was in full force, but it was worth the hype. That ceiling, the staircase, the light, the interior is richly decorated with hand-carved wood panels, columns and railings. Many visitors assume it's all oak, but some of it is actually painted plaster, designed just to look like wood, which was a common technique in the early 20th century interiors. There is a €10 entrance fee, but you can take this price off the cost of any books that you buy in the store, which are mysteriously marked up by about €10 compared to a normal bookstore. The tall built-in bookshelves are structural as well as decorative. They rise towards the ceilings and frame the staircase, reinforcing the sense of verticality and grandeur in the space. There are beautiful wrought iron balustrades and subtle decorative flourishes throughout, especially on the staircase and railings. These are classic Art Nouveau touches, drawn from natural forms and fluid lines. That is a bookstore that reminds you why physical space still matters. Porto isn't just beautiful, it's unfiltered. Crumbling paint, laundry swaying, coffee shops catching the golden hour. It's lived in and alive. The Luís Bridge, designed by Teofil Sirrig, alongside Gustave Eiffel, whom I'm sure needs no introduction. The bridge uses a parabolic arch, a structurally efficient form that often used in 19th century industrial era's iron architecture. The upper deck, where I am at the moment, was originally used for road traffic, but now, as you can see, it's used mostly by Line D of the Porto Metro and pedestrians. The lower deck, where I have magically teleported to, carries road traffic and pedestrian crossings, these north and south banks. But not everything clicks. I visited the Casa de Arquitectura, and I'll be honest, it left me cold. It felt disconnected, overtly curated, like a museum of ideas, but without the emotions. Sometimes architecture forgets its audience. Adjusting to work abroad is harder than I thought. Deadlines don't slow down just because you're in Portugal. I really felt the weight of that this week. One evening, after a long day at the co-working space, I took a ride out to Capela de Senhor de Pedra, a chapel perched on a rock, right at the edge of the Atlantic. One of the things I absolutely love about Porto is that you have beaches just like this, just like 10-15 minutes from the city centre. And I want to go see that thing, that thing. But as you can see, sun's getting pretty low.
Sun's getting real low.
I'm not sure I'm going to make it on time before it closes. I am currently sitting at the bottom of Capela de Pedra or something like this. My Portuguese is obviously awful, but this is a little chapel right on the edge of the sea. And basically the story behind this Baroque chapel on the edge of the sea for no apparent reason is that it was actually founded on pre-Christian religion that I don't think we're actually sure what one it is, but some pagan religion, and it was meant to be some deity to the sea, and that's why this rock alcove is kind of the perfect place for this. And especially when Christianity was spreading through Portugal, a lot of the pagan religious sites were then Christianized by building chapels and things like this on top of their previous sites. And I think I just missed a festival that's meant to be here at the start of June. It's now the end of June, so I completely blanked on that, even though I've been in Porto now for nearly a month. But yeah, it's just really pretty. I don't know if it's actually closed at 6 o'clock or if I got here maybe a couple minutes late, but I thought I was here maybe 10 minutes before 6 and it was closed. The next day, I visited Casa da Mu, briefly. A bold monolith, and maybe worth a full vlog on its own someday. But I'd visited this many years before when I was competing in the Karate European Championships, and my heart was set on something else today. Piscinas de Mares, at least I believe that's how you say it. It's better known as Siza's Baths because of the tidal pools, obviously, and the architect, Álvaro Siza. It is one of his most famous works. It is one of his earliest works, designed when he was only in his 20s. So it's actually incredibly rare to find an architect that has such an early work become so famous for them, but that's exactly what this is. The real beauty of the design is how the actual building itself blends into the rock face, then becomes these concrete steps that lead you down into the pools and then further into the waves. Following the ramp down and then continuing into these very narrow spaces that make you duck your head if you're in any way tall. I mean, I can hit my head off of literally any beam in here, but it's the walking down and through, out open into the open air, that really gives you that sense of relief. The way that the building and the baths themselves are very much inset into the landscape here. It's what's called contextual regionalism, and it was rather new in the 60s when this was designed and built, but it's like the perfect example of how you can perfectly integrate from nature, from the natural ground to the built ground, the built pools, and then the open ocean. It's that line between the architectural man-made and the natural world that really sets this scheme apart. After living in Porto for over a month now, there have been so many beautiful buildings dotted across this terraced landscape. But I must say that I was lucky enough to call one of the best projects I've seen my home. Staying in Outsite Porto, was a digital nomad's dream oasis. Tucked in Porto's Bow-Firm district, the Outsite Porto Moco Hotel is a beautifully repurposed complex that once housed a 20th century industrial warehouse for electronic material storage. The site was dormant for years until Arquitectos Aliados led its transformation, completing the project in 2021. The renovation balances respect for the site's industrial past with contemporary clarity. Original brick facades and exposed concrete structures were preserved and complemented by warm timber interiors, curtained steel accents, and subtle acoustic treatments that reflect the hotel's identity as a hub for music lovers. MOUCO, short for Music and Other Things, was envisaged not just as a hotel, but as a cultural venue, complete with a concert hall, rehearsal rooms, and a music library, all of which I was lucky to see unfold one night. You see, the hotel is constantly hosting new events like the ones that you see here. Evolving from this brief, it became a perfect hub for Outsite to operate from. If you aren't aware, Outsite is a global network of beautifully designed co-living and co-working spaces for remote workers and creatives. With locations from Bali to New York and here in Porto, they provide fully furnished rooms with strong Wi-Fi and a vibrant community. This week was a test for me, of patience, of courage and connection. I worked and wandered, got lost, and I found my feet. This was largely due to a new strong home base at Outsite. But Porto gave me more than just architecture. It gave me space to begin. On my next stop? Even I don't know yet. But I'm ready to find out. If you've enjoyed this journey, hit like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves architecture, or just dreams of working differently. I'll see you in the next one.